Hello everyone, my name is Beebrel Gaming. I am a competitive Pokémon VGC player from the Philippines. And today, I'll be discussing about the largest and most prestigious online Pokémon tournament in the country being held as of this posting. The Philippine Pokémon Team League, or PPTL, is a team tournament where players are initially drafted into different teams. The draft took place last February, and I was called to be part of the Spikemet Sovereigns. During the group phase, each team will send out 6 participants to square off against an opposing team in an official VGC format setting. For this round, my team Spikemet Sovereigns will face off against Levincia Leftovers. Let's take a look at how my match went. The team I will be using has 2 archetypes in the form of Spam Armady and the infamous Tatsugiri plus Dondozo combo. Brute Bonnet and Iron Hands are also present to provide bulky offensive presence. My opponent, on the other hand, uses a very strong core composed of Great Tusk plus Talonflame, as well as a bulky Flutter Mane, Encore Iron Bundle, Assault Vest Tyranitar, and Shadow Tag Gothitelle. I led with Brute Bonnet and Iron Hands, while my opponent leads with Iron Bundle and Gothitelle. Right from the get-go, my goal was to get rid of Iron Bundle, since it's the only one that can deal a significant amount of damage to my Dondozo at the back. I immediately went for a Fairy Terra on my Brute Bonnet, acting as a safety cushion in case I get hit with a Freeze Dry. My Iron Hands went for a Drain Punch on the protecting Iron Bundle, while Brute Bonnet is faked out by Gothitelle. Thinking my opponent will most likely save his Terra for later, I decided to go for another Drain Punch onto the Iron Bundle slot. The opponent tread through this and sent out their Flutter Mane, thus nullifying my attack, but not without taking decent damage from Brute Bonnet's Crunch. Iron Hands also took decent damage from Gothitelle's Psychic. Next turn, the opponent's Flutter Mane went for a Dazzling Gleam, which managed to take off a chunk of my duo's HP. Their Gothitelle then used Taunt, probably thinking that I will go for Spore, but they predicted incorrectly. The turn ends with Brute Bonnet knocking down Flutter Mane, and Iron Hands dealing enough damage to activate Gothitelle's held Citrus Berry. Next turn, the opponent brings back their Iron Bundle and went for a Freeze Dry onto my Brute Bonnet. Unable to switch out due to Shadow Tag, my Iron Hands fell to a Psychic from the opposing Gothitelle. Brute Bonnet then retaliates with a Bullet Seed onto the Gothitelle, but RNG did not favor me this time since I was 1 Bullet Seed short of a knockout. The battle is now a 3-on-3. I send out my Dondozo next turn, but because Shadow Tag is still in play, I am unable to send out Tatsugiri alongside it. I went for a Protect first, anticipating the Iron Bundle will hit me with a super effective Freeze Dry. Gothitelle then fires a Psychic onto my Brute Bonnet, but it's still unable to get the knockout. Brute Bonnet then knocks down the Iron Bundle with Bullet Seed. The opponent then sends out their last Pokémon, Tyranitar. I decided to go for an Earthquake just in case the Tyranitar doesn't go for the Terra, but it did. Nevertheless, I still managed to take the Gothitelle down, allowing me to activate Tatsugiri's Commander ability on the next turn. At this point of the game, there was no way for the opponent to win since my boosted Dondozo walls and outspeeds the Tyranitar and can just increase its attack each subsequent turn via Order Up. Game 2 starts with a different lead from my opponent in the form of Talonflame and Great Tusk. I lead with the same duo of Iron Hands and Bonnet. I went for an early Terra on my Brute Bonnet, just in case the Great Tusk decides to go for a close combat. However, Great Tusk decides to attack my Iron Hands, which is EV trained to specifically tank a headlong rush. Next turn, the opponent sends out Iron Bundle, who uses Encore onto my Iron Hands to lock it into using Fake Out. Talonflame then goes for a taunt, but my Brute Bonnet answers back with a Bullet Seed to knock out the Iron Bundle. Tyranitar is my opponent's last Pokémon. It is very unlikely for the opponent to Will-O-Wisp Iron Hands slot except if they went for a Hard Read, so I hard switched into my Dondozo. I was correct in my assumption, and the Talonflame inflicts a burn on my Brute Bonnet instead. Tyranitar then goes for a Rock Slide, which fortunately did not flinch my Brute Bonnet. A Stab Crunch then takes off a decent amount of Talonflame's HP despite the burn. Next turn, I decided to stay with Brute Bonnet since I know Talonflame is at range of being knocked out by a Crunch. I wasn't wrong, and Brute Bonnet tanked a Brave Bird plus a Rock Slide and managed to take down the Talonflame before fainting to Sandstorm and burn damage. Just like the previous game, the opponent is left to face off against my boosted Dondozo with their Tyranitar, and they have no chance of winning at this point. Huge shoutouts to my opponent for this awesome debut battle. If you would like to give the team a try, the rental code and paste will be at the description down below. I look forward into competing more in the following weeks, and perhaps with enough dedication and perseverance, obtain the coveted champion title in the near future.